run your own business.
I do.
You don't think no deal's a problem. Why are you right and the CBI, which represents hundreds if not thousands of businesses across the country, thinks it would be damaging?
Well, there's a huge difference between the sorts of businesses that the CBI represent and my business. You know, we're a small business, an SME. 99.9% of all businesses in the UK are small businesses like mine, employing 60% of all the people that work in the UK. And for us, many of us, 92% of our businesses don't do any business with the EU at all. We just don't do any trade at all with the EU. And so what we do is we suffer from all the regulations that come along, and there's no real benefit. My own business has been going for 115 years. So for the first 70 of those years, we were never in the EU. Our business went perfectly well. For the 40 years we've been in it...
But it didn't exist.
No, exactly. And it didn't, so there was no great benefit. And for the 40 years we were in the EU, there was no benefit to our business, but tons and tons of cost.
But now
and that's the point.
But now we are in the EU,
yes.
and we're trying to get out of the EU in the right way.
Yeah.
You say no deal will be fine, we'll operate on WTO rules.
Yes.
How long would you want to operate on WTO rules then?
Well, we can operate on WTO rules immediately.
But for how long?
Well,
because at some point you need a deal.
Well, what, a deal with the EU or a deal with other countries around the world?
All of them.
Well, you don't need a deal, actually. I mean, a deal, see, this is what people don't understand. Businesses don't depend on trade deals. Most of the trade we do, in fact, we do more trade in the USA than we do with the EU. We don't have a trade deal with the EU. You don't actually need a trade deal to trade. And
but
the EU sells...
But you're in the EU.
Yes,
so you automatically are covered by all of those regulations.
But it doesn't matter.
Those free tariffs.
It doesn't matter because we trade with the USA, and there's no trade deal with the USA, and we still trade.
But we'll be outside the EU, and to trade with the EU, what sort of tariffs would you want to have with the EU?
Again, it doesn't matter. The USA does more trade with the EU than we do, and they're not in it. They're not in the single market, nor they're not in the customs union, and in fact they do more trade with the EU than Britain does.
But
you don't need to be in it.
But you might not need to be in it, but you need to have a deal with them at some point.
We don't
what
have
would that deal look like?
I mean, look, it would be great if there's a free trade deal. Of course it would be. It'd be great for both parties. What that would mean would be that there'll be no tariffs at all, and it would mean that there would be mutual recognition of our standards.
But
that's how it should be.
Under WTO rules, if you have no tariffs with one trading partner, you can't have tariffs with anybody. It's a blanket coverage. That's the WTO rules. It's according to Rory Stewart, the Conservative leadership candidate. It's the worst of all trade deals because it means
that's nonsense. Actually, that's not quite how it works.
But he said that he's talking a lot about this over the weekend, saying he's not anti-Brexit, but he's anti-leaving without a deal because it means that if you don't impose tariffs on one trading partner, you can't impose them on anybody. That leaves Britain open to a flood of cheap imports, which will affect agriculture, affect the car industry.
Look, cheap imports be brilliant for British consumers.
But not for other producers, not for homegrown
producers. But even if we had the average tariff that the EU has against products from all over the world, that 4%, that would cost Britain about £5 million, but we're saving billion. That would, but every year we save 13 billion in the fees that we're paying to the EU to do all this trade that we're not actually doing. I mean, it's the great thing about no deal. The absolute great thing about no deal is, first of all, it crystallises the whole Brexit discussion overnight. It removes the uncertainty. Business keeps saying it needs this uncertainty removed. No deal just does that immediately. It'd be fantastic.
We could talk all night. We haven't got time. Lance Foreman, Brexit Party MEP, thank you very much. Thank you.